Welcome back. We're discussing Canadian energy policy, and joining me again is Dan McTeague, president of Canadians for Affordable Energy. Let's shift gears now to Alberta, Dan. It's always a perennial topic because Alberta is such a huge producer of oil and gas. Danielle Smith, the newly elected Premier Danielle Smith, who was just, I guess, re-elected, she pointed out that Justin Trudeau, our Prime Minister, is preparing to introduce a de facto production cap on the oil and gas sector, a move that is suggested will destroy tens of thousands of jobs, an industry which is the backbone of the province and a major contributor to their GDP. Is this in fact happening, or is she just theorizing, or is this actually taking place?
Well, it's taking place. The government is, against defend you both, now found another way in which to tick off part of the country and to row against what is obviously a reality that we don't have technologies available to substitute, the use of hydrocarbons like natural gas, like oil, like coal to generate electricity and energy, which is dispatchable and reliable when needed, especially in some of the coldest, most prohibitive climates in the world. So you have now the federal government saying, we're just going to do it, not without any consultation. And, in the past, we've sort of seen some provinces roll over and play dead, not this time. And I think a lot of us are going to be watching very intently as Danielle Smith pushes back on what I think is, for all of us, yes, we all want a cleaner climate. But to do so, we have to be realistic that we don't undermine and chop off our legs at our knees and it prevent our ability to make ends meet. Look, Alberta is important to Canada in terms of energy production. So if the federal government wants to mess with that, good luck with that. But at the rate in which they're spending for ridiculous things like bailouts and subsidies for EVs at $32 billion in my neck of the woods here in Ontario,
Yes.
you better be able to make some money. And you're not doing that by killing the golden goose that's providing much of the revenue impetus.
Well, Premier Danielle
decisions.
Smith, she sounds like she's going to dig her heels in, which, I mean, I've interviewed her on the show. I think you guys were even on a panel. She used to have a show on our network, and she's a formidable woman. But she said, if he persists, referring to Justin Trudeau, he will be hurting Canadians from coast to coast, and he will strain the goodwill of Albertans in an unprecedented fashion. And as Premier, I cannot under any circumstances, my emphasis, allow these contemplated federal policies to be inflicted on Albertans. I simply can't, and I won't. Them be fighting words.
Well, the fighting words, it's what happens when your back is against the wall. And, you've seen years in which provinces, and I don't take shots at them, many people in the oil and gas sector who are not my friends, I don't get paid by them, I fight them with my gas price predictions every day, have basically acted more, to lack of a better term, like poltroons. They've given up. They've appeased. They've bent over backwards. And what's got them? Where has it wound up? I think now the pushback comes. And provinces like Alberta, and I would hope even Ontario, should recognize that the decision by this government to proceed in that fashion, very similar to the Green Energy Act here in Ontario, has had the effect of driving up the cost of energy threefold. And I want to make it really clear to Ontarians here, and it's not a political statement. You have provincial governments taking a $6.5 billion debt every year so that you and I don't have to pay in this province, tripling of our electrical grid, the cost of hydro. I think Ontarians need to wake up, smell the coffee, starting with the Premier, to join with Alberta's Premier Danielle Smith, because this is not just an intransigence on provincial autonomy and authority. This is, in fact, an attack on consumers. It'd be nice to see the provinces stand up for consumers for a change. More importantly, as they are doing in Nova Scotia with Tim Houston, and full credit for what he's done, I think it's time for Ontario to stand up and push back on a federal government that doesn't give a damn for consumers.
But will they stand up? I mean, we've seen this, increase creep up. I don't even know if it's creep up. It's been pretty rapid. And people just continue to seem to go with the flow. At what point is it too much?
They go with the flow because they're paid to go with the flow. A lot of these organizations that come out and applaud the federal government are bloody well paid for by the taxpayers. They're subsidized. I saw the Climate Institute coming out there and doing a rah-rah. Of course, they got $20 million from the federal government. They don't make a dime outside of the federal government. Cut these guys off at the knees and we'll see how far they last. The reality, however, is that those who believe this is a great thing are usually those who are grifting major, and it's a real source of concern. one hopes that if there is a new government someday, we deal with what we have now. But if there's a new government someday, the government, restores its audits on charities and to bring these people back into line, because frankly, they're using our taxpayers' dollars to subsidize things that make it far more expensive for most people. At the same time, bringing the economy and consumers to their knees.
Yeah, I don't like that when fat cats are getting rich off the backs of Canadians. I
Big
don't like
time.
that one bit. We're going to pick up this discussion in just a few moments. Stick around.